Look at us. Episode 3-ish, maybe?
3-ish.
3-ish. What are we going to chat about today, G-Rex?
So today we're going to chat about my trip to New York right after I went ahead and signed up for the early retirement.
But
I'm going to
really,
give you some travel tips.
What not to do.
What not to do. You might want to sit down for this episode, maybe not drive, and definitely don't do the shit that I did. So right after the day before we left for New York City, I actually signed my offer for the new company I'm going to go work for. So I was on a super high note. We'd gotten up at 3 o'clock in the morning to catch our flight to New York City. Super excited, right? Get on the plane, get into the city. First place we stop is at Cat's Diner because I need to fuel up, right?
Wait.
So I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning.
What is Cat's Diner? Because I've never been to New York City, and I don't know if everybody listening has been. So what is that?
Cat's Diner is a famous Jewish deli in the Lower East Side of New York City.
My stomach is literally
amazing.
Growling.
Amazing bagels, amazing egg salad,
dude.
The best pastrami sandwich I've ever had in my entire life.
I got a DoorDash while you're talking about this. Okay, so you stopped there, fueled up. What time was it?
It was 7 o'clock in the morning when we got there.
Okay.
So from 7 to 8:30, 9-ish. Ate a bunch of food, had some soda, had some coffee. And then we hopped in an Uber and went up to Rockefeller Center because I wanted to see the tree, right? Because it's so pretty. Right. It's cold as fuck in New York City and a little rainy. So we were walking around and I needed an alcoholic beverage because, I'm feeling this high. I want to get my drink on. And we ended up at Sean's Irish Pub. We get in there and it's literally 10 o'clock in the morning because I went back to look at my pictures on in my phone. The bartender was hitting on our friend. So the drink, the pours on the drinks were super heavy. So between 10 and 12-ish, I had 5 drinks with super heavy pours. No food. I should have probably had a snack. Okay, like I said, hindsight is 20/20.
What was your drink of choice at that time?
It was a Christmas cocktail, so it had vodka, cranberry, orange.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like
something
breakfast.
Else. And then I had a couple of shots too. So it was 5 drinks and a couple of shots. And so the egg salad that I had, I don't know, at 7 o'clock in the morning was probably already gone.
Oh, gross. Hold on. I'm sorry. It just dawned on me that you had egg salad. And then you had a vodka beverage called a Christmas cocktail. And what time of the day was it?
10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, how many Christmas cocktails accompanied your egg salad in your stomach?
5-ish.
Oh, freaking gross.
And a couple of shots.
What were the shots?
I don't remember.
Well, that checks out.
Because by drink number 3, I was maybe I should have some food. But you know what? That thought, it went away because I wanted another cocktail. So we leave. So our bar bill was close to maybe $200, give or take, for 3 people. So then we leave there and we go and do a little shopping. And man, if you've ever been in New York City during the holidays, it is fucking beautiful. All the lights, there's a ton of people. I think the thing that was kind of sketchy is not everybody wore masks. I wore a mask because, thank God, up until this point, I haven't had COVID. We do a lot of walking around and do a lot of shopping. And then we had early reservations for a late lunch, early dinner at the Russian Tea Room. We hopped back in an Uber, head on over there. Now, I remember everything I ate at the Russian Tea Room. I remember everything I drank at the Russian Tea Room.
Was there more cocktails, or was it herbal teas?
4 or 5 espresso martinis.
Holy cow.
And this is 3:00 in the afternoon. So I'd had the 5 drinks before that, but I'd had some walking, right? So I got a little exercise. And then we had like caviar. We had, I had really good beef stroganoff, had a bunch of drinks. And then we did a vodka tasting there. So
Jeez,
the whole day was
Louise.
vodka.
What time is it? I'm sorry to keep asking you what time it was at that time, but
at that time it was like 3:00.
That's a lot of drinking.
It was a lot of drinking.
Got it.
A lot. And if you, so let me just kind of describe. I'm 5'0". And so
she's 4'11".
On a good day, I'm 5 feet if I'm wearing my tennis shoes. So we're at the Russian tea room, and like we had, oh my God, they had a cherry vodka there that was fucking fantastic. So that whole meal was like about, I think my wife was telling me it was like $500. I don't fucking remember, because by this time I am hammered, right? Like I'm not remembering shit.
Right.
So I don't know. I guess it was me that ordered the Uber. Don't really remember that part too much. Because I don't remember the Uber ride from Russian tea room back down to the hotel. Like, I don't remember that shit at all. Yeah. I remember most of the other part of the day, but I don't remember that ride.
Yeah.
So.
Not surprised.
Get down to the hotel, get checked in. I go to lay down for a little bit because now everything's spinning, right? And it's probably around 5:00 in the afternoon. Super, super, super fucking wasted. Like, I can't remember the last time I had been this drunk, right? Laughing, carrying on, being super stupid. And my wife and our friend were also like super fucking drunk. So go back to the hotel, lay down for a little bit. The fucking room is spinning and shit. Wake up a couple hours later and I'm like, oh, I need to make a phone call. Well, now I can't find my motherfucking phone at all. I didn't have my iPad with me. I usually travel with it. I don't know why I didn't travel this time. I didn't have anything. Like, I didn't have my fucking phone. So my wife looks for a Verizon store around where our hotel was. She found a Verizon store. Well, I needed to get dressed. I get up off the bed and I go over to my, this is so fucked up. I go over to my suitcase and it's a brand new suitcase. So the wheels on it are super sensitive. And I go to flip it on its back so that I can unzip it and get some clothes out. Well, as I'm doing that, it slips out from underneath me and I face planted onto the windowsill. And it was right at that very moment that I knew I broke my nose. So I'm laying on the floor. I'm looking at my wife. I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, God damn it, I broke my fucking nose. And no, nobody comes to help me, right? They're all laughing, bent over, tears in their eyes, laughing. I'm like, fuck, my nose hurts. So my wife, I get dressed, still super fucking drunk, like drunk as shit and stressed out. My wife finds us the Verizon store. Me and my friend go down. He calls an Uber because I don't have a fucking phone, can't call. Scurs out to this really shady section of Brooklyn. Okay, so we get there and I am fucking wasted. Super wasted. So my friend's not only wasted, he's stoned out of his mind, right? Get into the Verizon store. I tell the dude, like, I lost my fucking phone. I need a new phone. And he comes out and he's like, well, the only phone I have left is a 14 Pro Max and it's purple and it's got a terabyte. Listen, motherfucker, I don't fucking care what you have. Here's my American Express. I need a fucking phone. So he gets that all squared away, right? And then he's like, ma'am, do you know what your Apple ID password is? The fuck if I know what it is. I'm like fucking drunk out of my mind, stressed out. I knew I had a sub account, so I remembered what that password was. But don't ask me what the fucking password was to the main account, because fuck, I don't remember. The whole time, my friend's like trying to calm me down. The Verizon dude is like, man, can you please quit swearing? I'm like, the fuck if I can? Like,
No
super
way.
fucking stressed out.
Holy moly.
He was like, the guy was like, I'm sure he was just happy to see me go. So we get ready to leave the Verizon store, and there's a homeless dude laying across the entrance of the store. So I trip over his shit. Okay, because now I already have a fucking broken nose, stressed out, super drunk, and now I'm starving. Like after a little tumble, I got up, but I noticed that like right next to the Verizon store was one of those dollar pizza joints, dollar a slice. So I get 2 slices of pizza. And remember, we're in this super shady part of town, right? I'm in my nice long wool jacket. It's cold as fuck outside. And the Uber driver was like half an hour away. So here I am sitting on the curb with a broken nose, my 2 slices of pizza, and my fucking $1,000 phone. Get back to the hotel room, super stressed out. I can't fucking sleep. Like the whole night, I'm like thinking about it in my head, like I need my fucking phone back because it had all my work apps on it. Get up the next morning. We decide to go to Top of the Rock in downtown New York City. In the meantime, I'm trying to get a hold of the kid that's watching our cats because I needed to reset my master password for my iPhone so that I could go to the Apple store at Central Park and Fifth Avenue. Okay, I have the DTs. I haven't eaten.
What is a DTs?
I'm fucking shaking.
What's the DTs? I'm
trying to detox from all the fucking alcohol I had the day before. Because my hands are shaking, my whole body's shaking, right? Like I couldn't do anything. And I'm stressed out. My poor wife's trying to help me out, and all I could do was yell at her. And it wasn't her fault. We finally get the password changed, and we were waiting for a fucking Uber for like a half an hour. And I'm like, I'm not fucking waiting. So I asked a local police officer, I'm like, how far, up is the Apple store? And he's like, oh, it's about 10 blocks. And he whispered in my ear, he's like, as long as you stay with the crowd, you'll be fine. So I walked with the crowd because I'm telling you, there's 80,000 fucking people in New York City, right? And it's a little shady. Even on Fifth Avenue, like I was afraid of getting pickpocketed because, and nobody can see me because I'm so short. I've never walked so fast in my entire life, right? Like it was like power walking.
Were you alone?
I walked up, because they were waiting for an Uber. I was not waiting for an Uber. I wanted my fucking phone fixed. So I walk up to the Apple store at Fifth Ave and Central Park. And man, if you've ever been to that Apple store, it's fucking amazing. It's underground. And it's huge. Like there's plants everywhere, every kind of Apple device you ever wanted, and some super helpful people, right? So by this time I had reset my password. I handed him my phone. We sat there for like an hour so that everything would download and we were good to go. So then we get back to the hotel room. And like, there's still some passwords I don't fucking know. Like, I didn't know how to get into my Gmail because I couldn't remember that password. I couldn't remember shit.
Yeah.
Still like super wasted. Had a few more drinks, but like, I didn't have as many drinks as I had the day before because now we've learned some lessons. So I have a couple of tips for you. Number one, if you're going to travel with anybody, make sure that everybody knows your passwords to your phone. Right? Because like not even my brothers and sister knew what my password was. The only way I could get that reset was to have my little cat sitter reset my password for me. Maybe number two, don't drink so much when you're in like an unfamiliar place. Maybe have some responsible adults. Maybe have a lanyard for your phone so you don't lose it. Then so that was Saturday. Sunday, I decide to go ahead and install the Uber app back on my phone, my new phone, the $1,000 purple phone. And I get a bunch of messages from Uber. The driver's trying to get a hold of me. So he had my phone, but he wasn't working that day. He lived in Queens.
Such a nice person.
So we had to take another Uber from where we were into Queens. The guy was super nice. I gave him a $40 tip. He's like, ma'am, I can't take this. The fuck you can't, man. You have no idea what you just... Like, he saved my life, right? Because I was going to come to work.
If only he had been there to help you move your suitcase.
Fuck.
Could have saved your nose as well.
You're an asshole. Super helpful now. So, I get the phone, super thankful, give the guy $40. Like, I've never been so, like, de-stressed in my entire life. Like I felt like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders because without that phone, I wouldn't have been able to log in. I wouldn't have been able to do my time, all my pictures, everything. So a couple of things that I've learned from this on if you have an Apple device, you can actually share your master password with somebody else. So now I share it with me in case this shit ever happens again. I seriously doubt it will because my wife has already told me she's going to get me a leash, a retractable leash for when we go to Europe because she's afraid I'm like gonna like take off. She's going to get me a lanyard for my phone so that it just hooks around my neck. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, I thought I'd lost my $600 sunglasses, but I found them in the hotel room. They were tucked behind something else. Hindsight is 2020. I can laugh about this now, but at the time, I couldn't fucking laugh about it because I was so stressed out. Like our entire lives are on our phones.
I have to say, your list of what you learned in my how I'm interpreting it, right? Priority number 1, phone and password. Do you think you can maybe also learn how to pace yourself a little bit with the alcohol? Like, has that made it to the list yet?
That would have helped. So maybe after each drink, maybe a glass of water or some food, or maybe not drink so fucking much. Okay,
yeah. Because that was day 1 into day 2,
was day
right?
1.
And how long was this trip?
We were there on Friday and came home on Monday.
Okay, so you had to go hard and fast. Got it.
I went hard and fast. Highly don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think part of what I missed from the trip were just some of the really pretty lights because I was so stressed out trying to get my damn phone all fixed. I couldn't really enjoy myself. And then the other thing is, like, your passwords, like, have, like, a password manager that somebody else has access to. Because I got yelled at for this. I have all my passwords, but I haven't shared them with my wife. They are now shared. Because if she...
It only took a broken nose and a trip to New York City to get there.
Broken nose and a trip to New York to solve that issue. The other thing I would suggest is having... I don't carry a purse, but I'm going to carry like a little...
Fanny pack.
Well, fanny pack. No, I'm not even... No fanny pack.
Crossbody.
So like 1990s.
Yeah. Well...
Like a Merce.
A Merce. Got it.
I'm going to carry a Merce, right? And it has zipper pockets, and I can put my sunglasses and my phone and put a lanyard around my neck. The other thing I would suggest is like know your whereabouts, right? Like
how far your face is from the windowsill.
Well, and what was funny is if my wife and our friend had done it, their head would have hit above the windowsill. But because I was so short and I was bent over, that's how I ended up breaking my nose. But I'm super thankful that I broke it where I did and not at the bridge. Mm. My nose is still broken. I had gotten back and I was going to see the doctor that day, but I couldn't go because my coworker had called out sick. So I called Teladoc. I held the phone up to my nose, and the guy's like, "Yep, it's broken." But he said that it would take 8 weeks before I'd have to go and have it rebroken and reset. That date came and went because I am leaving for Europe at the end of April, and it takes 10 weeks for that to heal. So now we're going to Europe with a broken nose. And what sucks about it is, like, I can blow my nose now, but every time I sneeze, a little part of my soul dies with me because it is the most painful thing. I will say that because it was so cold in New York City, that it actually helped to reduce the swelling. I had black eyes. I had a big old black and blue mark on my nose. I still have a huge lump. It's great, though, because now my glasses sit fine on my nose and they don't fall off.
There you go. Find the positive side.
I'm finding the positives.
You and I travel completely differently.
I'm sure you do. I'd like to hear your travel tips.
My travel tips are so first and foremost, I am very anxious traveler. Super, super anxious. Like I need to be there at least in the airport 3 hours early, because the sooner I get to my gate and I'm sitting down, or the Delta Lounge. Gotta love the Delta Lounge. As soon as I get there, I can kind of sort of start to relax. But I say that to say I don't travel often because it causes me so much anxiety. One trip, which is now my favorite trip I've ever done in my life. It's so good that I incorporated it. Is that a word? Incorporated it into my wedding vows, was our trip to Washington, D.C. And it was me and my husband, kind of on a whim. He's like, let's go to D.C. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. Was anxious the entire time. We got there, and my husband says to me, which if anybody who suffers with anxiety would know, he goes, let's just go for a walk. We're in a new place. I've never been before. And now he just wants to go to a walk. I don't know where we're going. I don't know what's nearby. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. We take a walk. The walk led to us ending up, where did we go? Like, we ended up in like the House of you can say it in the mic.
The Library of Congress.
The Library of Congress. And
we got library cards.
Yeah, we go to the Library of Congress. One thing leads to another. We're walking through like metal detectors. I'm freaking out. Somebody asks us if we want a library card. He says yes. Now we have library cards. We're literally roaming around the Library of Congress. Nobody giving us a tour. We're literally just wandering around back hallways, underground tunnels. We end up in like where they have all their archives. And we're just there. It's just him and I. And we're like pulling books out. And like, we're like, I guess this is fine. Like, we're here. And I'm freaking out that like a guard's going to come through and be like, how did you all get here? How dare you? Or whatever. I then remember us like leaving there. We went, he goes, oh, let's just go see the person that's representing Florida. So I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, I hear they have orange juice. And like, if you stop in and you tell them they're from Florida, they'll give you orange juice. I'm like, what? And I'm freaking out. So now we're in another building, going through another set of metal detectors, literally walking around unled, just walking, looking for the Florida office. We get in there. Nobody's there. He sits down at the dude's desk. Somebody finally shows up and's like, hey, who are you all? And he's like, we're from Florida. And he's like so happy, right? I'm like, this is how these stories start. This is how I end up in the newspaper about like that couple from Florida who broke in to like these state buildings in DC. Like, this is how this story happens. He's literally going, hey, we're just here from Florida. We heard you'll have orange juice. And the guy's like, oh, I'm sorry, we're all out of orange juice. There's like, here's some passes. What did he give us passes to?
Go see the Senate.
Okay, so we get these passes, no orange juice. I take a picture of it because the guy goes, yeah, sit back down at this dude's desk, like take a picture. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is happening right now? I'm taking a picture shaking because I'm just like anxiety through the roof. We leave that building, we go to some other building, and like that was day one. We're just wandering through these state capitals and like these buildings with metal detectors and armed guards, and like nobody gave a shit. And it freaked me out. I had the most fun I've ever had because I would have never done it myself. I would have planned something that would have probably been all right, but like, you know, it would have been, I could have never imagined that being our trip. And that was, after that day, I finally just like relinquished all control. And I was like, hey, we'll do whatever you want because I had so much fun yesterday. Like the stories that we can tell from that day. Like, I would have never had that experience. But I will say this. We did not have an ounce of alcohol. We did not break any bones. It was just good-hearted Florida fun in DC. Walking around looking for oranges. It was awesome. It was a good time. So that's I don't really have any fun tips other than if you're like me and you're super anxious and like feel the need to control things. It's really awesome to be with somebody who you trust 1,000% and relinquish control and just go with it. Just go with it. You'll do stuff that you never would have imagined.
I actually did that. So I finally gave control back to my wife. I'm like, you know what? We're going to fucking do whatever you want to do. I don't have to drink, which, kind of brought me back to one other travel tip. We had gone to New Zealand about 15 years ago. And while we were there, somebody broke into our hotel room and stole our passports.
Jeez.
So one thing I would highly suggest is if you are staying in a hotel room and you have your passports, at least take a copy of your passport and then put your passport in the safe. Most hotels will either have a safe in the room or they'll have a safe at the front desk. Do not travel with your passport on you, and don't ever leave it in your room unaccompanied, because my wallet got stolen, all my IDs got stolen, everything. So by the time we had to get to the consulate office in New Zealand, they were only open a certain part of the day, and it was all cash. So we got there, got my passport, blah, blah, blah. So the next stop for our trip was Tahiti. By the time we got to Tahiti, I didn't fucking care, right? Like, if I can drink the entire time I was there and give a fucking shit, like, I had a new passport for, it was a temporary passport, because when I got back to the States, I actually had to go back to the passport office. But like, the most stressful thing, that was actually more stressful than losing my phone, because if I couldn't get a new passport, I was going to have to go right home. Cheryl was going to be able to travel on to the next destination, and I was going to be on a plane back to LAX.
Wow. Brutal.
And there was no alcohol involved in that part, just poor judgment. So, like, things that we've learned in, going forward is, like, we leave a copy of our passports here in the States, our driver's license, just take photocopies and either put it up onto like OneDrive or Google Drive, give it to a friend, because if that ever happens to you, they can fax it to you or fax it to the consulate, and then you're safe. And always know, like, where, if you're traveling out of country, know where the consulate is. Like, have an emergency number, have an emergency contact someplace in the States. Phone a friend.
I love that. Phone a friend. Trust. Phone and trust a friend. Look at us now. Traveling like pros.